was in my senior year of high school and so excited for what the next few months and years were going to bring. Prom, graduation, working, then mission, then school. I still remember finding the perfect prom dress. All I had to do was smile pretty, say pretty please, and pretty soon my dad had his credit card pulled out. We don't need to talk about how much it cost. I was so excited when my prom dress came. I still remember it was a Friday, and I was down in the basement with my little sister, about to watch a movie, home from school for the weekend. I still remember cutting that box open and holding my prom dress up to me, feeling like a princess, so excited. But my excitement turned to pain and guilt really quickly, because every time I ate in front of my dad from the month of February till April, which is when prom was, he would give me a dirty look and say, "Is your dress gonna fit?" Didn't matter if it was an apple, a cupcake, or what. Every time I ate in front of him, I got the same question. Finally, I had had enough, and I said, "Dad, I'm really tired of you calling me out every time I eat something. You need to stop." And he said, "Well, I don't want my daughter to go to prom looking like a fat cow. I spent a lot of money on that dress." I was 18 years old and had just been body shamed by my own dad. I wish with everything in me that I was the only woman who had felt a little bit of shame for her body, but sadly, I'm not. There's me at the Laurel Priest prom in my prom dress. What's even funnier is the theme to prom was black and white, and I wore that. I posted on my Instagram story questions, asking the girls who follow me if they had ever been body shamed. As you can tell, 67% of the girls on my Instagram had said yes, they had in fact been body shamed. The next question I asked was, "Girls, have you ever been told that you're too fat?" 52% or too skinny? 52% of girls said yes. The next question I asked was, "Have you ever been told that you're too fat or you need to lose a pound or two?" 60% of girls said yes. So it's not just me, it's regular girls too. It's also celebrities. Caitlin Bristow, a gorgeous, gorgeous woman who's also Canadian. Medora, you're welcome. She was the Bachelorette of season 11. She is slammed on every social media platform you can think of for being too skinny and saying that she needs to gain a pound or two. Ashley Graham, the first plus-size model to make it onto the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition? No. And she is told constantly that she's really pretty for a plus-size girl. And then another problem that she has when she first meets people is people say to her, "So what do you do for a living?" And she says, "Oh, I'm a model." And people take a step at her and say, "Huh?" And she says, "Well, I'm a plus-size model." Venus Williams, without a doubt one of the best athletes the world has ever seen, not just for men and women, but in general, is constantly told that she's not feminine enough and is built like a man. 6-year-old Willow is Pink's daughter. She said she didn't want to go to school because she's tired of people at school telling her that she looks like a boy with long hair. 6 years old and is already being body shamed. So there's 18-year-old girls like me, there's the Bachelorette, Venus Williams, a plus-size model, and a 6-year-old who have all been body shamed. There's a few things that need to be understood. Premature birth, chronic stress, polycystic ovarian syndrome, hypothyroidism, syndrome X, depression, and hormonal changes all contribute to a woman's ability to either gain or lose weight. Premature birth causes women to be skinny. So many would love to gain weight, but they just can't because they were born too early. Chronic stress messes with a woman's hormones, and it makes it difficult to lose weight. Polycystic ovarian syndrome. Millions of women all over the world suffer with polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it causes them to gain weight, and they can't do anything about it, no matter how hard they try. Hypothyroidism is where your thyroid is overactive, and millions of women and men suffer with this, and they can't gain any weight no matter how badly they try. Syndrome X, depression, and hormonal changes. It varies. This is Sasha Patrice. She played Allison on the hit TV show Pretty Little Liars. This is how she looked while she was on Pretty Little Liars. She fell out of the spotlight for a few years because she gained a little bit of weight and didn't want people to see her. When she did come out of the spotlight, people were saying things to her like, "What happened to the girl from Pretty Little Liars? Did you eat her? What happened? You gained a bunch of weight. You were so pretty. Now you've just gained a bunch of weight." Little does everybody know that she was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome during the production of Pretty Little Liars. So she gained a bunch of weight and there's nothing she can do about it. Zoe Saldana played the alien in Guardians of the Galaxy. Girl can't gain any weight because she has hypothyroidism, but is still shamed for her body, even though she can't do anything about it. A couple numbers that I found interesting while doing some research for this found that 53% of 14-year-old girls don't like their bodies. That number raises to 78% by the time they're 17 years old. In a survey done by Women's Journal, it was found that 7 out of 10 teenage girls have admitted to either heavy dieting or an eating disorder in order to gain weight. Sadly, when I was a teenage girl, I was in that. I starved myself for about 3 days after my dad made a comment to me. That number raises to 9 out of 10% by the time they're in their 20s or college age. This is Cameron Russell, like we've talked about before. Cameron Russell has the slimmest thighs, gorgeous bone structure, some great teeth. But she's still body shamed even though she's a model and is paid to look good for a living. These pictures were taken the same day and so were those. As we've talked about before, it takes the right construction and the right lighting and the right makeup artist and the right hairstylist to make sure that everything is perfect so that she can be on the cover of their magazine and make them a couple bucks. She also says that she herself is insecure because she has to care about what she looks like every day of her life. Wearing sweatpants and bumming around without any makeup on is not an option for her. She's followed around by paparazzi and people slam her for not wearing any makeup and not looking pretty enough. This is one of my favorite quotes ever. We need to remind ourselves that everybody we see is in fact a child of God, and that if we have a bad thought about somebody, like that girl needs to lose a pound or two, or hasn't that guy ever seen protein, or anything like that, that those thoughts are in fact from hell, and we need to tell them to go there. One of my favorite movies is 13 Going on 30. In this part of the movie, Jenna, the main character, is doing a presentation for the magazine she works for. And in the beginning of the presentation, she has pictures of models everywhere. And she says, "So who are all these women? I don't recognize any of them, do you?" And she says that what she wants to see is people who are confident and happy. She starts taking the pictures down and having galleries of girls in a cafe having a burger and fries with their best friends, and girls at a football game with their friends staring at the cute football player. And she says, "I want to see my best friend at a football game with her best friends, or my older sister out with her friends having a good time." And she just goes off saying that women who are happy and confident to be who they are, no matter their gene size, these are the type of women we need to look up to. Here's a couple pictures I have. This woman right here was a bodybuilder for years. It got to the point where she was weighing chicken, and she would be at a barbecue with friends, and she would have her mouth watering over the barbecue chicken or the ribs and everything else, but she couldn't eat it because it was against the diet to have a body like that. She finally decided, you know what? I don't care anymore. Now she looks like this. She doesn't care. She embraces herself and loves herself. Comments are made by people, of course, but she doesn't care anymore. At the beginning of the semester, my roommates and I had a photo shoot in the Rick's Gardens. Every one of my roommates, including this one right here, is the former Miss Rexburg, has been body shamed at one point. This is my roommate, Kelsey. Kelsey was once told in the girls' locker room that she was anorexic because of how tiny she is. But little do people know that there's something wrong with the alignment in her stomach that causes her to be really skinny. One of my roommates, Blakely, is short and is body shamed for it. This is a friend of mine, Elizabeth, from back home. She was a hammer thrower in college, and she's without a doubt one of the best. She almost went to the Olympics. But she was told by her teammates that she's built like a man. In my personal opinion, it's time that we stop telling girls who are like Ashley Graham that they are really pretty for a plus-size girl and would be a little bit prettier if they lost a pound or two. It's time that we stop telling girls that they'd be really pretty if they knew how to do their makeup or they were just a little curvier. It's time that we stop saying things like that and stop labeling people and say that they're just pretty. Because everyone we see is in fact a child of God with their own insecurities. They've heard it before and they don't need to hear it from you too. We can all stop the shaming. We can all stop saying everything that we think needs to be heard and choose to build up and help the confidence of those around us. Thank you.